First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to my Elohiym, my Abba Yah, and to his only begotten Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. To all my ox and Akotis, you know where you are, in the four corners of the earth, scattered to the four corners of the earth. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Okay, let me just start out by saying I took down the Malcolm X video, not because I didn't agree with what he was saying, but because it was a bit staticky, so I'll have to repost it later on. And so I just took that down and I'll repost. But the point of it was that nothing new under the sun. These things that happened during Malcolm X, you can pretty much apply the same issues and actions to today. As long as our people don't wake up and realize how detrimental separation to our people is, they'll continue to make the same mistakes of the past. Yes, we have the Bible which represents the past, the future, and the present to show how this is all going to end. But brothers and sisters, for those who have some understanding, when you see and read the Bible, do you get what, if you were to sum it up in a nutshell, what is the Bible really saying? What is the real purpose of this biblical, historical, holy book? The whole premise of it is to take us back to our King. We separated from him by trying to attach to the world. The premise of this video is to let y'all know, why is it that I keep emphasizing on separation? Besides, that is what the Holy Ruach puts into my spirit. It's not I'm trying to be facetious to the Gentiles. It's something I am trying to show our people, that once you get back in order, everything else falls in place. You don't have to every 5, 10, 25 seconds bring up the fact that you are with Gentiles, because in the end, you're going to figure out how foolish that looks. All right? When you become the light that you were intended to be, you ain't finna stop. They can't stop you. Everything is just going to happen organically and spiritually as how it was supposed to be. But every time you dim your light, because have y'all ever heard when people say, never dim your light so to please anyone else? That is the case for our people. And if we look at Solomon, King Solomon, right? Considered the wisest man, the wisest king. Even he could not overcome the darkness when he decided he wanted to go join with the Gentiles. Now, a lot of people, you don't quite understand how significant that was when the Most High told him, don't go out to them. He told the Israelites not to go out to them and not to have them come into you. Besides just disobeying the Most High, which is a huge thing, because our people still don't understand the whole point and premise of the scriptures, and his holy word is to communicate to us his laws. And what are laws? To be obeyed. His word to be trusted. So if he tells us something, for example, he's the one who caused the Gentiles to come from the other side of the world to come get these disobedient people who are his children and come bring them into a land that was not theirs, that they are strangers to, then, the only thing that people are doing when they claim we were already here, or they're trying to take away the power factor. Just like, I guess I heard someone say as well, that they say that, Yahushua's father, Joseph, was actually the father and not the holy set apart spirit that put, listen, every single part of that is just blasphemous. You take away the power from our Elohiym, blasphemous. Right? Blasphemous. I don't know who else can do the things that is done in this world but a all-powerful Elohiym. But you not finna be the people when you keep dimming your light being joined to this world. There's so many things in the Bible that tells us to separate, not to integrate or assimilate. For example, for us not to be unequally yoked with unbelievers. He keeps on saying that, right? Come out from amongst them. Because looking at Solomon, when even Solomon, wise as he was, joined to them and started worshiping their idols. What are their idols? It's made of stone. What is stone? It doesn't have breath in it. Okay, it's not a life. It doesn't have any life in it. It's just there. It just lays there and it just is. Or the wood when it's cut off from the tree, dead, powerless. He says this all throughout. Why should I doubt my Elohiym, who I also trust? Because he puts his truth in the Bible. Just because you can't read it or understand it, I'm not saying this to be braggy, it's a fact. Does not mean that he doesn't preserve his truth for those who, when they awake to read, understand, because he puts wisdom in your heart. All throughout the Old Testament, he always said he put the wisdom and understanding in his people's heart, who seek him, who know that obeying his commandments is showing and proving that you love him with all your mind, body, heart, and soul, with your everything. Your being literally starts to resonate of the king. Is the light. I'm not saying you are God, but that light that he talks about. You being the light of the world. You can't be the light of the world if you're still integrated with it. But fear, brothers and sisters, fear is what fuels so many of our people. Fear, because the Most High says, and this is one of my favorite scriptures, that he did not give us a spirit of fear. Who gave it to you then? But he did say he gave you power and love. He didn't give you nothing weak. And he didn't give you hatred, but he gave you power and love. The whole platform, we keep talking to you. I ain't never told you to hate your enemy, but to separate from them so you can be the people who you always were supposed to be. And everything, your little Gentiles you like to worry about, will fall in place. And the Most High will heal your land. He is the one that is in control. And someone once said as well that how is it that we don't see the power? Brothers and sisters, remember, our hearts were darkened. But why was that? Because our people would not let go of these idols. Same thing happened to Solomon, the wisest man who could no longer tell the difference between a stone, a lifeless, inanimate stone that can't do anything, can't feed itself, can't create a human being, can't put life or breath in a body, or metal. He couldn't tell the difference between that and an almighty, all-powerful Elohiym who showed up to him to tell him, don't join with the heathens and the Gentiles. You are supposed to be a standard. You are the example. You are the light of the world. How are you supposed to be the light when you put out your light, join into darkness? That is what he's trying to tell you. So you might get mad and think I'm insulting the Gentiles. But the Gentiles, if they understood, this is the whole premise of it. They can't save anyone if they don't save themselves. The people, if they continue to be like the world, then how are they going to be the light of the world? It's not by joining to you, but being apart from you. Because the world itself, if you think back to Solomon, represents idolatry. Remember, we said our people traded in the all-powerful Elohiym who turned his back, turned his face from us. He's been saying it throughout the scriptures. The whole premise, however, for the Gentiles is not to join to them, but for them to annoy you back to Elohiym. From the scriptures, when you wake up, the first fruits go and help out the others as well. When they get the first knowledge, right? The whole premise is to bring the people back to Elohiym. That's what he said. Old Testament, New Testament, he said he sent these foolish people to provoke, mock, and make you jealous. And then the last part, the most important part of it, is to bring you back to him, so you could be the light of the world. Everything else falls in place, but because our people have no faith, they have more fear than faith. They continue to think that acting like Mother Teresa and Pope, whoever he is, going around trying to do, I'm not going to say that, but pretending this fake piousness and fake piety, because that's what it is. Yes, you are to be humble, but you should also know the truth and be who you are to be. Because the one of the biggest things I've always noticed, and throughout society more than ever, is every time our people have been attached to them, it has made them powerless. They either lie to you or they make themselves the center of attention. Always a distraction that you don't need. They come in, then they are, why do you all hate me? What? What does that have to do with anything? If the heathens and Gentiles don't learn, and they need to learn from you as well, how to humble yourselves, how are you going to be a light to the Gentiles? The Most High shows through, this is the whole premise of the Bible. The past, the present, the future, but most of all, when when your heart got darkened, because that's where your understanding and wisdom is, got darkened, you lost your identity. And if you ever watch that movie, I guess 50 First Dates, I think with Drew Barrymore, I don't really like to but just to give you an idea, she lost her memory. And when every day she was reliving the same thing again and again and again until she started writing it down. So when she once again woke up, she knows all these things were what had already taken place and where she's at. So when the people wake up, the people become who the people are supposed to be. Every time you reach down, which we said, because the whole process is ascending. If you look at with Peter and the Messiah when they were walking on water, as soon as Peter, as long as he kept his eye on the Messiah, he was good. He stayed afloat. Forget all the distractions, left, right, center, behind you, and wherever else. He stayed his eye on the truth, on the word, on the Messiah. And he stayed afloat. As soon as he started to take in all these distractions and remember, oh wait, I'm on water. And then he started to think like how the world has him think. Like, I'm not supposed to be walking on water. This water is shallow. I'm supposed to be sinking. He started to sink. He started to think like the rest of the world. But the Most High is trying to elevate our people to that level where you are in this world, but you are not of this world. So that when you realize this, you are able now to be the judges and the people the Most High intended you to be. Not even Solomon, the wisest man, was immune to it when he joined into the world of the Gentiles. I call it, if you look at it, because even the scripture talks about fables, the land of Disneyland, the most magical place of all, the land of delusions and delusion. The most magical place of all. As long as you try to attain these worldly things, keeps your eyes and your focus off what really matters, off the truth, off the Elohiym, off ascending. Every single time we try to tell you this is to ascend. Just like a moth is drawn to a flame, that's what the rest of the world will have to do, because you are not to dim your light. You are supposed to be all you're supposed to be. In Revelation, do you see the Messiah coming from beneath? No, he is from above. That's where he's coming from. You are to seek heavenly things. Seek the kingdom of Elohiym first. But our people keep thinking that, oh, the world taught me that this is what I need to do and pull up. No. Be who you are meant to be. Stop being fearful, because that is what a lot of our people have going on. They're afraid. When you see them trying to assimilate, come on, brothers and sisters, open your eyes. Either they trying to look like bleaching out the skin, doing the things, trying to achieve the level of their Gentiles when there's a higher expectation for you. So as long as you stay, like people like to mock and scoff when you say things like, this is not your best life ever. And it's not to cut you off. Yes, Elohim wants the best for his people, but this is not it. That's the point we're trying to make. Nobody's trying to cut you off and said you should receive less. But in the scriptures, even when he's talking to the church of Philadelphia, he says you are poor but rich. In this world, you are poor, but the kingdom to come, you are not. That's why it's easier for a rich man in this world, it's harder, for a rich man in this world to make it into the kingdom than a camel to make it through a needle's eye. These riches, some of y'all, listen, don't dim your lights. Because a lot of our people trying to be like the world lose focus and track of who they are. Wise Solomon forgot about his wisdom. That and the fact that he plugged out of the power source of the wisdom, the one who put the wisdom and understanding in him, in your heart. Once he did that, it became dark. He couldn't tell the difference anymore between an inanimate, dead, idolatrous object and an all-living Elohim. He was over there worshiping broken, worthless cisterns, because a cistern is supposed to hold water. If it's broken, what's the point of it? It's useless. Can't do anything. You finna die of thirst trying to put water in a broken cistern. And we keep saying, look at Solomon. He made these wise decisions. He was held at that level. But he couldn't tell the difference between a rock and an Elohim who even showed up to him. Because these things dim your light. That's the point of it. No, I'm not trying to be facetious when I'm saying, separate and be the people. It is so that everything falls in place. The Gentiles who do even want to follow, because read the scriptures, it realizes that by themselves, because people were saying, how do they not have a part or path to the Most High? Read the scriptures. Didn't they attach themselves to the people? Who? To the Most High's people, because they realized you know how to get us to the King. You know him. So what have we been saying? Who is the representation of Elohim on earth? His people, like a conduit, bringing peace to the earth. So it's impossible that we're even in our land, unless you're trying to tell us that it's just a figment of our imagination. Trump and these wars and rumors of wars. So you're trying to tell us that the king has already come? And I mean the king that our Elohim chose. Not because there will not be another king that our people choose. Because only Elohim can give us a righteous, true king that's not going to disappoint us like the rest of them did and take our butts back into captivity. You might not like to hear that, but hear what? The people who have true understanding and knowledge, you know what I'm saying. These things are not to harm you or hurt you, but to help to elevate you. I've seen people talking about 2 weeks or so, the 400 years. That's not good focus, though. Your focus is to get to Elohim. Get your understanding up. Get your relationship tight while you're here. That's the whole point why you were scattered. Right? And to not doubt your worth. The whole world tells you you're something that you're not. They tell you you're worthless and you're not. It's so far from the truth, brothers and sisters. Let's look at the story with Moses. Okay. I remember when I was in the church, and it might not be all the churches, but a particular church I had attended, and they said Moses did not make it into the promised land because Moses killed. He shed blood. Was that true? Was that true? Because they banked on the fact that your hearts were darkened. You're not seeing the wisdom like you should anymore. Then you read the scriptures and you see the Most High told Moses why he will see the land, but he won't enter into it. It wasn't because he shed an Egyptian's blood. Because if you read, now Jubilees has become one of my favorite books. Some of y'all might not like when we talked about the joining to the heathens and they become a snare and a trap. Or marrying them and them defiling you. But that also shows you the Most High didn't hold that against Moses. Because when you defile Egypt, and I will say it again until you get it, destruction is your portion. Because even when Moses got the commandments of not to kill, the Most High still sent him out to take the land. As long as you went with him as the creator of this planet. If you defiled Israel, his children, because he always says not to touch what? His anointed, not to touch his prophets. Those are his people. Those who are in line with his laws, commandments, and statutes. Not denying his son. Not running around thinking that nothing's wrong with defiling yourself with the heathens. But what was that? What was the Egyptian doing? Abusing an Israelite slave. What was he not? It wasn't because of shedding blood. It was because he did not sanctify Elohiym. He and Aaron, they decided to put themselves in a position, which is what a lot of our people try to do. Put themselves in a position with Elohiym. No, Moshe. You know the Most High loved them some Moses, but you don't do that. That's why when I make my videos, I put him first. Sanctify Elohiym, because this wisdom don't come from me. By myself, I was reading the book blindly too, and I believe Moses didn't make it into the promised land because he killed. But that wasn't the reason. The Egyptian was defiling Israel. You don't have no right to be putting your hand on the people. And that is why I continuously say that these people, those Gentiles, they don't have no understanding. Because if they did, then they would not be doing the thing that they're doing now and setting themselves up for destruction. If they had the same spirit, because the people, when you start to hear and understand, because I was watching where there was like, I guess Christians or the church was getting all mad in their feelings because Hebrew Israelites were drawing out their members. Now, do they care about the members or the fact that money walking away? That's what you need to ask yourself. Right? Because there's no way you can claim to be a child of Yah and not realize that faith comes by hearing, and hearing comes by the word of Elohiym. And that the sheep hear his voice. There comes a time when people are just like, enough is enough. And there's no power here. These buildings represent an idolatrous world. The Most High's church is his people. Spiritual and blood. And I wanted to talk to y'all some more, but I didn't want to make it too long. But unless the people stop thinking like this world, what they call it, social engineering, to think that you acting like Gandhi or Mother Teresa and thinking you need to join into the rest of the world is what's going to save you, but it's not. It's the other way around. Like we said, they cleave to you, you cleave to Elohiym. Order is back. Right? Order is back. And there was a point to, There was a point as well. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Someone did say, what does it mean to sanctify? They didn't sanctify his holy name. Remember, the Most High says that because of us, the heathens, the Gentiles, are defiling his name. Sanctify his name. Separate his name. Because his name, he himself is power. This is why when they say this nonsense, like we were already in this land, the Most High said that he was the one who took the people. He sent the Gentiles and put y'all in chains. Our forefathers in chains and yokes. And I listen and I hear and I understand and I obey and watch and see. This is how our people are to be. The word comes from his book. He communicates to us in many ways as well, through his creation, his land, his people, through nature, and through his holy book. His holy set apart book, which is preserved, which shows you that if the heathens truly understood, they probably wouldn't have given you the book. Because this book in itself shows that what they're doing is to their detriment, which is continually defiling us. Even those who, they think that by joining in matrimony is actually going to save them. No. No. All of that they're doing only shows that, listen, you're just lining up, heaping up coals on yourselves. Understanding would have had you repenting and stopping this white supremacy mess. But ain't no way white supremacy or racism gonna go away until the progenitors and the upholders of it are taken away. It's a fact. And that won't come until the king returns. Take us to the king. Make Yahuwah great again. Some of y'all might be like, he's already great. But when we chose this Disney world, when we chose this world of idolatry and powerlessness, because remember, the Most High said that their ways are powerless. Their ways are not your ways. These idols are powerless. They're dead. They're broken cisterns. They're useless. But this is what you wanted? Fine. There you go. You get it. Them and all their excessiveness. But you were warned again and again and again and again. But there are only so many warnings you can get, because the next captivity is going to be for the other people and those who join to them. So separate. You might not like to hear it, but hey, those who have understanding, you get it. You get it. You can only be truly who you are apart from the darkness. You can shine your light the brightest that way. But always take in the story of Solomon. Remember, Solomon's wisdom was renowned. Wise man. And he fell to the very same thing our people fell to. Someone asked me about the whole Malcolm X thing. Malcolm X got it. He got the separation part. But I also think of Malcolm X in Martin Luther King Jr. in the same bucket. They didn't sanctify the Most High, just like Moshe. Especially Malcolm X. He got the separation, but he kept mentioning Elijah Muhammad. The servant is never greater than the master. And by that, I'm talking about our Elohiym. Prophets, messengers, never greater than our Elohiym. Give him his glory. Give him his praise. Give him his all due honor. Like the Messiah said, give what's due to Caesar. Give what's due to Caesar. Give Caesar his due and give Elohiym his. Give him all praise, all glory, all honor, worship. Because he deserves it. Worship your way out of this dissension, this low place. Praise. When the praise go up, blessings come down, huh? But if you think about it, how even like your enemy likes to tell us, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Just like everything they say, they should be the ones pulling themselves up by the bootstraps to get to you. So, because you know the king, and that's why you have to be who you are and plug back into the power source of Elohiym, your understanding, your wisdom, your love, the one who gives you the power, love, and a sound mind. Apart from him, and this is why he said when you came into the world, you came into the strange land, all favor will be taken from you. He wasn't going to show us any favor. So white people trying to claim they're the people is so off, because you know they have this whole privilege wherever they go. So they're definitely not the people. Then you got Chinese people, Moab. I don't care what y'all say, it's not Moab, but they trying to write themselves into the book. Everybody trying to be the people, minus the struggles, no doubt. But then here comes these darkened hearts. Oh, which reminds me, another thing about Solomon, when his heart got darkened and he couldn't tell the difference anymore. That's what happened. He was no longer representing Elohiym. Remember that. And not only was he no longer representing Elohiym, but he was no longer representing or serving the interest of the people. And that is what happens when we talk about these people who are preaching this heathen doctrine. They're not even thinking straight. But then you have other people running around following them, talking about, oh yeah, you know, the 144,000, or the ones who know that we are from this land. Child, please. Really? It is so much more than that. That is so much more than that. Like we said, many are called, few are chosen. People actually try to narrow it down to that. When people are preaching a heathen doctrine, their hearts are no longer with Elohiym, and they're no longer serving the interest of the people. So you make that decision. Do you want to follow people who don't have your best interest at heart, and they're no longer getting their direction and their understanding and wisdom from Elohiym? They instead try to plant devices and division amongst you and just leave you worse off than before? Or do you want to plug into the real source of power? Because as long as you stay accepting your best life ever, and this, because you got mockers and scoffers that are doing this, and they made it a thing about my best life ever, they don't realize how ridiculous it looks. If this is your best life ever, you've settled. And you're going to be one of those on the sidelines watching the people who realize this wasn't the best life. They'll stay poor because they understand the scripture that says you are poor in this kingdom, but you are rich forever. They understand that. The best life is yet to come. Where's the church when you have racial attacks? When you have all of these things? I was driving down Jacksonville the other day, and I noticed almost every other building I get, like when you drive out of Georgia, I forgot was it. I'll tell y'all the road in a minute. But every other building was a church. It's literally a corporation, right? I remember a point when, I'm not right now in Florida, but every time my alarm went off, they were talking about tornadoes in Jacksonville. Like, I'm like, whoa. And this was like local news. Like, Elohiym is plummeted in Jacksonville. If y'all know about Jacksonville, for the most part, you know that place in California, Paradise or whatever, a lot of similarities. Yeah, black people do live in Jacksonville, however, but the treatment and the behavior, and then some, very similar. This is Jacksonville, Florida. But tornadoes, and Florida is mainly known for hurricanes. So when I was hearing tornado watch, I'm just like, what? But every single time it was like Jacksonville. Like, you don't hear all the news, but there's a lot going on that you don't know. And that's why we're trying to say, listen, brothers and sisters, get your separation plan together. Always have water while you're with it. Just saying. But get your separation plan together. Okay? Start separating mentally, spiritually. And by that, like, all the attachments. If the Messiah was to come right now, you know how they like to ask those questions? If you were stranded on an island, what would you take with you? In this case, it'll be like, man, look, have it all. Bye. I'm leaving. I ain't thinking about coming back for nothing. All this stuff is rusted and gather dirt. Because I'm focused on kingdomly things, on Elohiym and on his king. Take me to the king. Some people want to see Beyonce and all these other celebrities around this place. I want to see the king. I want to thank him. Thank you. Thank you for never giving up on our people. Thank you for seeing us as worthy. Thank you for giving us a way to come back to you. Some of y'all don't even realize, man. It might not look like it with your physical eyes, with your physical sight, but our Elohiym loves you. And he put the understanding and the spirit in his people. Those other people, they don't have it. That's what I'm saying because some people say they don't understand. What do you mean they don't have the same spirit or the same understanding? Because if they did, they would stop what they're doing right now and repent. Stop harassing us. But it's a part of how the story goes. It's a part of how everything goes. The birth pains, the contractions get worse and worse. The more the earth people are inflicted. It gets worse. Our argument shouldn't even be about land right now, but about how cemented, how solid is our relationship with our Elohiym. Because the whole thing is, yeah, I know we came from the earth. And yes, we are attached a lot in our ways, like how or how we feel definitely affects our planet. But in the end, the Savior is sent from above. You know what I was also thinking the other day? I was reading Revelations, and it was showing when the Messiah came back and he had all the kings of the earth coming after him. And it just came to me. If the Messiah was pale, because, even our own people just seem to be in a trance when it comes to them, would they be attacking him? Because he's showing you that they are on attack. Who, historically, even till now, have they always been pointing guns on? Who? One Negro to 5-10 different popos or the aggressors, the other ones. 10 of them with guns to an unarmed Negro. Because I put Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice. Even the guy the other day, was it Botham Jean? In Texas. Alton Sterling. And the list continues. They'll be unarmed and they over there 5, 10, 15 taking out weapons. You think if the Messiah was white coming out of the parted sky, they would be coming for them? Have you ever seen that YouTube video where you had like a bunch of white men armed up going into the police station? I don't know if it was a test or whatever, and they came back out alive. They went in armed and they still came back out alive. Do you know what that's saying? I've had my situations too, ain't done nothing, but somehow they were about to put on excessive force. Anybody ever watched that documentary 13th? I mean, it's missing a lot of depth, but there's a lot of truth to it as well. I think it's on Netflix. Yep, the 13th Amendment. Sorry, the 13th Amendment. But they put up excessive force. You think if there's a pale one coming down, they gonna come and attack him? They probably stand up there like, oh, only but a black man. That just showed me. I'm like, this Messiah is a black man. Our Messiah is a black man. Because they're not finna try to attack one of their own coming out. Because they're going to be like, oh, that's our Savior. Yay. They ain't finna be arming up to come up against him. If he look like them. Come on now. The scripture isn't talking about, oh, he coming down and he's going to be like, oh, everything is all peaceful. No, he's coming to bring the sword. And the point I'm trying to make is even when their own people armed against them, they still find a way to diffuse the situation. Unlike if it's one that looks like us, they suddenly seem to just throw all the training out and they don't remember and they take out whatever excessive force they can find, which is usually with their weapons. Pop, pop, pop. It's a high likeliness that you ain't, if a black man, woman tried that going into the station, they ain't finna be coming out. Even here, when in Florida, I think it was like, I've seen a couple of these situations where they were doing the zombie thing. Like, I don't know if they took too many bath salts or something. There was a guy who he had killed a man and a woman, and he was there, I guess, chewing on the man. The police showed up, and that man still left, or that boy still left there alive. They tased him. So once again, brothers and sisters, you think there's a white man coming out of that sky and then bringing excessive force? Oh no. Oh no. They all of a sudden see a black man coming out of the sky. What? Ooh, just some food for thought. Anyway, I'm sorry this was so long. Brothers and sisters, I hope y'all are having a wonderful rest of your week. You know, stay prayed up, stay prepared, stay separated. Be the people you're supposed to be. Be the light of the world. Everything else will fall in place. Don't worry about it. Like the Messiah was showing Peter, don't worry about it. Just stay focused. Tunnel vision on our Elohiym and the truth and the promises and being the people you always intended to be. And everything else will fall in place. Okay? So with that, always wishing y'all peace, shalom. Until next time.